Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is your third week, and I hope that you have a better idea of your customers and what your customer want. This week we're talking about revenue. Now, specifically for those people that is considering raising money, make sure that the revenue model that you develop in this week um, does the following. You need to show how you're going to get to 10 million rand in the first year and to 500 million by year 5. For those that is not planning to raise money, it's not a problem. So there's various elements to a revenue model, volume, price, type, etc. Um, but the mentors are going to talk you through all that. So we're going to go back to my little company that I started just for this, and talk a bit about revenue.
As you would recall from last week, I started a mountain biking cycling club just because I'm too lazy to exercise myself and I needed some motivation. We talked a bit about the customers that was interested and we talked a bit about the channels. But let's talk about making money through this really dumb and stupid proposal of mine. So what is the options in terms of making money? What is my revenue streams? You can look at all the traditional ones. I've looked at other clubs, see where they make the money, and the most obvious ones are entry fees. That is entry fees for going to bike parks, etc., which they can get cheaper because they can negotiate a volume plan. Look at membership fees. Yes, have people pay to join the club. And then, of course, because we're doing a little course for beginners, we can also charge course fees. Now, those are all traditional ways that we could make money. But how about revenue streams that is not traditional? We know that it's moms and dads that come, so how about childcare as a potential revenue stream? How about bicycle maintenance? These bicycles, we take them out, we drive them through mud, etc., and they do break. So can we make some money from bicycle maintenance? How about a workshop where people want to go and work on their bicycles themselves, but they not necessarily have the tools, but they're willing to pay to borrow our tools or to work under the supervision of a mechanic? How about a coffee shop? When people are tired after the ride or before the ride, they might want some coffee. And then when you're finished, one of the things that really irritating on a mountain bike is you have to clean it regularly. We're going through dust, we're going through mud, and it needs to be cleaned. Can we charge them to clean their bicycles after each ride? Now, as you would expect, and as has been shown many times, your revenue streams that you're considering affects your value proposition, affects the channels that you're going to use to sell to, it affects your customer segment. And guess what? Now that we've looked at the revenue streams, suddenly we have several extra things that we can add to our value proposition. We could add childcare, we could add a coffee shop, we could add bicycle cleaning, we could even add a workshop. Of course, this is not where the story ends. We need to go and test and see which one of these revenue streams is going to work, which products people would like to buy, how big is the market for those services that we want to provide. Then, of course, the pesky little thing called costs. But some of them are reasonably easy to choose as they are existence proof. Those are products or services that is already being produced in a similar manner and that is being sold, so we know that some of those revenue streams will definitely work. Some of them need some experimentation, try them out, see what the cost is going to be to try them out and see if they can be a long-term revenue stream for my business. But the mentors will go into the details of selecting a revenue stream. Pay careful attention. A business is not a business without revenue. Agenda for the evening: 6:35 President's Feedback, 6:45 Hot Seats, 7:30 Assignments, 7:35 we're going to have a 5-minute break, 7:40 the mentor presentations, 8:40 mentor Q&A, and then our networking session. I would like to welcome the mentors for the evening. Sonkoba Kuba, translating strategy into operational reality, shares a passion for development of people, teams and companies. Pampos Suteriades, skilled in strategy, innovation, product development and management. Dion Katz, over 19 years of experience in the financial services industry. He worked in wealth management and structural finance. Bade Aluko, an experienced entrepreneur whose greatest joy in life is seeing people that pass through his various companies become a major success in their chosen careers. Presidents, please give us feedback on great achievement within your group this week, what your group learned this week, challenges, what did your group do well, what do you need to work on as a group. Okay, our first president tonight to give his feedback is Mohammed Khan from Enforcers. Our first president to give us feedback tonight is Mohammed Khan from Enforcers. Mohammed.
Yes, hello. So as a group, we achieved greater confidence to challenge each other's ideas with even greater understanding of core problems involved. We learned about commitment and consistency to our problems, and we redefined them to really stick. We all experienced challenges in interviewing when trying to find a sample of people that were not biased and where dialogue could flow in the open-ended manner required. That said, we all ended up with a direction forward, which we explored as a group and visualize the impact collectively. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Our next president to give us feedback is Olivier from Titans.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Yes, we had a very great discussion about customer development, and there is even some good highlights. We better understand that our pitch should be, articulated to address a message to investors, organizations, and customers. We also understand that the body language is something very important, the pitch, but too much movement can disturb the audience. There is also some concern regarding mentors having several founders at the same time. I would like to share this today. All members had an office hours, and we have a dropout. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Olivier. From Warriors, Nicolo, can you please give us feedback?
Hi, everyone. Good evening to everyone. On the side of the Warriors, we had an okay week, I suppose, under the circumstances. There's a lot to do. Through our various meetings that we have, either on WhatsApp or on Zoom. I do believe that all participants in the Warriors group are doing well so far. We just had a bit of a challenge one of the group members had and wasn't able to attend one of the meetings yesterday due to an emergency situation. But otherwise, they seem to be coping well in regards to having their assignment submitted on time, etc. But I don't think we have any other challenges aside from one that was mentioned just now by Olivier, which is the one, there was a question around that particular issue where there were a lot of founders attending one particular session with a mentor. So I think you'll address that. And then, yeah, we're doing well as a group in terms of discussing where we are having challenges and where we can support each other. And so far, everything's all good in that light. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nicole. So let's get on with it. Our next up is a hot seat.
Solve a problem with secret sauce. For the mentors, a quick reminder of the scoring system. No threes allowed. 5 means it's amazing, I am ready to invest. 4, good, I'm interested in advising, let's meet. 2 means unclear, might have potential but needs work. 1, it's bad, recommend a pivot. Mentors, please remember the link we sent you to review the founders. Please load your scores onto the website. We will be asking for your score directly after each hot seat pitch, and we will allow you to give longer comments on the pitches when all the founders have finished pitching. Founders, good luck.
Mentor feedback. This is the opportunity for the mentors to give more detailed feedback on the hot seat pitches. This is also the chance for the founders to learn from the mentors on how they can improve their pitches. Some tips for the mentors. Be honest and direct. Give specific examples. Give your opinion and say that it's your opinion. Share, inspire, and be inspired. Some tips for the founders. Don't be afraid of sharing your ideas. Be concise. Listen with the intent to learn, not to argue.
So our first founder in the hot seat tonight is Christopher Swart from Titans. Christopher, please give us your 1 minute pitch.
As we speak, more than 50,000 liters of untreated sewage is running into our rivers, and nobody is doing anything about it. We at Crystal Environmental have been working with our strategic partners to specifically address that problem, to help decision makers and project management implement specific projects that can be implemented in a sustainable manner. We use microbes, which are nothing else than small living animals that treat the wastewater and overwhelm the bad microbes. These microbes are similar to the microbes that we use to make cheese and yogurt and wine. And we developed a system of treating wastewater running untreated with bags and with bricks that's been infused with this microbes, something that is not existing right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So first up, let us get our mentor ratings. Bade, what is your rating?
I will give Christopher 2.
Thank you. Sean Troba,
Yep, thanks. Same, 2.
2. Then Pampos,
I concur with the previous speakers, 2 as well.
then Dion.
Yes, I'd actually concur with that too. I'm a 2-2.
You do too. Okay, great. We are going to give you an opportunity to comment, and I think we'll start with Bode tonight.
All right, thanks.
So,
Okay, Jacob, thank you. The reason why I give Christopher 2 is because I think that that business needs more explanation about what exactly is doing and the market segment that is addressing. The first point that came to my mind is that it looked like a restricted market. I'm struggling to even understand who are his direct customers and how is going to, what revenue modeling is going to apply. My second worry is what is the competition? It appears that his customer might be government, and if it's government, what are the risks of income due to politics and political influences? So those are my real reason why I am giving him 2. Thank you.
thank you. Let's go to Sonkoba.
Awesome. So yeah, I think I've given it 2 with a couple of bits of feedback, which is just to use the time better, use the minute to actually tell us what the solution is, and kind of what the business model is that you're going for. Obviously, kind of the water purification space is relevant. It's a problem to solve. So there may be something there, but you didn't really let us know if there is something there. And like I said, it's important that we walk away knowing what your solution is, what your business model is. There's lots of big players in the water services and purification space. What's your game plan? How are you going to compete? What's your competitive advantage? Who's your client? Because if it is government, what are the routes that you're going to take for that? But also, given that it's such a regulated market, it would be important to understand what testing have you done, what IP have you got registered, what processes are you using, is it recognized, is it safe, and all of those things. So I just think it was one walked away hoping there's a great solution, but not really sure what the solution is and what the business model is. And it would be great to kind of find out more as we go. And therefore I said a 2, which is kind of a bit more help needed because maybe there's something there.
Okay, thank you very much. And Pampos.
My concern, the concept is great. My concern is that there's no clear value proposition and ultimately no clear customer. One of the biggest issues of product failures is people trying to be all things to everybody. And that's where everything fails. So what's the value proposition? Who's the customer? What's the specific segment? What's your business model? Those are the big issues I would have with this pitch. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dion.
Yes, similarly, I just want to know actually like to know how you're going to make money. So I get the problem statement. We all know that water treatment, water preservation and management in general is a very important topic. It also sounds like there's a solution. We know that it involves microbes, which are themselves living organisms. So I'd like to understand, I'd like to understand what your margins are like. I think the target market, fair enough. We have to understand who your customers are, which you didn't mention. So I think it's pretty much a repeat. Who's your target audience? How do you make money? And what's a differentiator? As we've heard, there are many, many businesses that are approaching this problem, and there's a lot of money being thrown at it as well. And it is a regulated industry. So yeah, a 2. It needs a bit more. Yeah, it needs to be bulked up a little bit.
Thank you very much, Dion. Let's get on new hot seat. Lilo, are you ready?
Yep. I'm Lino, and I'm a proud presenter of Stint. I've developed a recruitment tool that would smart, seek, and clever connect companies with contractors currently within the energy sector. It synergized decades of experience in the offshore industry with progressive digital software. Stint is driven by extensive research into the possibilities of streamlining the manual search processes for quality candidates. This pioneering recruitment solution screens and matches candidates through a fully automated and confidential process. I recently started the development on licensing the software for all industries. The global online recruitment market is worth $2.7 trillion annually and has placed 58 billion positions in 2018 alone. Therefore, scaling this product will be a major revenue stream. Now visit stint.com and stint it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's get the ratings. Let's start with Shantoba.
Sure. Yeah, I think on this one, I'm actually still on 2. Explain later, but yeah, 2.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Pampos.
Also 2.
Okay. Then Bade. Okay, maybe.
Sorry, I'm a 2 as well.
2, thank you. And then Dion.
Yep, also a 2.
Okay, so we have a lot of 2s today. Thank you very much. Let's get into the feedback. And we're going to start with Sonkoba.
Awesome. Thank you. So I think, I mean, recruitment, solving jobs, issues and unemployment is always going to be important. Great that you're using tech to tackle it, but oftentimes kind of there's lots of solutions out there, lots of them using tech. So it would be helpful to get a sense more about what differentiates your tech. And also kind of, you mentioned the global recruitment market, which is massive. So I'm curious as to where you're going to focus. Who's the client that you're going to focus on and what's the value proposition to them? And a specific example is I've seen other players in the space. So one's probably worth checking out is a company called Giraffe that was looking at recruitment for corporate companies and specifically focusing on job opportunities for unemployed youth. And they've struggled with product market fit. They've struggled to get recruiters to abandon their usual processes and to get all the information they need in order to fully digitize recruitment. So that would be one that I would say is worth looking at. And also, yeah, I was curious, I guess, like Dion said before, how you're going to make money, who's paying you, who feels like you're creating enough value in order to pay you for it. But yeah, I think there could be something there. Curious to find out more, and hopefully that becomes more apparent as we go.
Thank you very much. Pampos.
Okay, would I?
I think you went on to mute there.
Apologies, I muted myself. My concern would be essentially, yes, the market is massive. It's becoming bigger with remote working becoming more acceptable. Fundamental question would be, why you? What do you bring to the table? What's your value proposition? And remember, you're competing with massive companies which are based globally. And I can give you an example, a company called Outvise based in Spain. It's run by previous consultants in business consulting. We've got the networks, we've got the connections. So it's easier for them to source jobs and find the right people. So value proposition, concept sounds good. Value proposition is sort of okay. Customer segment identified is very sketchy. How you're gonna make money, and I'm not necessarily talking about revenue only. Revenue is vanity. It's what's your bottom line? How much are you gonna make out of this, considering you're competing with big players? And like somebody I used to work for said to me in the past was, in a price war, the guy with the deepest pockets makes the rules. So those would be my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dion.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I think, look, your presentation skills are very good. You're confident. I think it sounds like you understand your problem, and it sounds like, well, there is a market, and I think we all know that. I think by the same token, I think, again, a $2.7 trillion market doesn't mean anything to me. I'd like to know where you're starting. I think you started off by saying it. It sounded like you started off by saying, and you can just nod if it's right. I think you started off by saying this is looking for people in the energy sector. Was that right, or did I hear that wrong? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks. Now that started off sounding pretty interesting, but then you said, you're kind of licensing software and you're ready to scale it across all industries in this $2.7 trillion market. What I'd like to hear is, again, a niche target audience started sounding attractive to me, because if you understand the energy market and you understand that better than some of the others, maybe that's the way you could make an in. I think there is a call for a niche here, because I do not think that you're going to be able to scale digital software into every industry contemporaneously or at the same time. So if you could just say, where am I going to start? Again, maybe if it's in the energy sector, why am I going to be better than all the myriad of guys going out there and doing it with a lot of money? And then the third thing is, again, that revenue model, guys. It's critical. This is business. We're starting up businesses. If we don't explain how we're going to make money and profit, then yeah, there's not much of a catch there. But confidently presented, and I hope you can brush it up and get it on the road.
Thank you, Dion. Body, 30 seconds. What advice do you have?
Okay, thanks. I think my concern is, what is your secret sauce? This is a vast market. What are you bringing to the table that will differentiate you from others? Remember, in the current dispensation, this is a global business. Anybody can be anywhere and kill your business. So work on your secret sauce.
Thank you very much, Buddy. Our next hot seat is Marlene Bosch. Marlene Bosch, are you ready to present? Whenever you're ready, you can start.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Marlene Bosch, and I'm the founder of iCalc Training Academy. We are a private technical and vocational college that is developing additional learning buckets, both face-to-face and online, to help school leavers and career builders, individuals and businesses that want to upskill their workforce. As we address scarce skills, as there's a shortfall of about 40,000 qualified artisans, we want to develop workplace strategies to develop and improve business skills as well as enhance learning. And we're going to do this because we have qualified and dedicated staff that embark this journey with them, and because we care and because we know you can at iCalc. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marlene. So let's go to the mentor ratings, and we'll start with Pampos.
I would agree with you. Sorry, I would give it 2. Apologies.
Give it 2. Dion?
Yes, again, we're not allowed to give 3s. So, I think this is very close to a 4 then. So it's hovering between a 2 and a 4. And I'll give my reasons why it's gonna back down to a 2 again. Okay.
Thank you very much. Bade?
I will give a 4, and I will explain when we get there as well.
Okay. And Sonkobo?
I'm at a 2.
Oh, you're a 2 as well. Thank you very much. Let's get into it. Pampos, you are up first.
Okay. I agree with you. There's a market. There's a shortage of artisans, and I'm not so sure about engineers. My biggest concern in terms of this value proposition is the fact that, first of all, your revenue model is unclear. Companies tend to have, or big companies who need skills like this, tend to have their own programs, so they establish their own colleges, if you want to call it that. The other concern I would have is essentially you're going against sort of established, call it structures, the CETAs and all of those things, the technical colleges, which became universities. So why you? Why would I come to you to train my technicians? What recognition would your certification provide? Have you worked through all of those questions, all of the costing, your business model, who you're competing with? Again, what's your differentiator? Why you? That would be my biggest concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go on to Dion.
Yes, I mean, I think it's a similar comment to again some of the previous discussions. it is again, it's like some of the sectors discussed tonight. This is definitely, I think, a sector in this country that, you know, I agree there are a lot of established places up, but I believe there's room for more. You know, we have 10 million unemployed people, and we have a need to create jobs and skills. So if we can achieve that, then I do think that there's a place for some of the independent operators as well. It comes back to, again, and I don't want to repeat what the others have said, but it really is again, how are we going to make money? You know, maybe, you know, there's opportunities in these spaces. I think if you get it right, that there's opportunity to maybe get some grant funding to help bring people up who otherwise wouldn't have had a chance before. There's almost like there's a people development thing behind this. How are you going to make money? Again, why are you different? And a bit, maybe a little bit more specific around who your specific clients and sector is. But again, it was very confidently presented, and that does, you know, sometimes it's very hard to tick off 6 kind of key points in 1 minute. If you're going to do it, and if you're going to miss any of those, and at least do it in a confident way, which you did, and it seems like you're very passionate about your business. So I said between a 2 and a 4. If you can give us an idea about how you're going to make money, and again, how you're going to get into that market where your target audience is, then I think it's a 4. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up, Bade.
Okay, I think I'm a bit biased because I've had the pleasure of listening to her on home office, or what I don't know, I can't remember what it's called.
Office hours.
Office hours. Thank you. Because she is already an experienced provider of content, and moving and extending that content onto online gave her a competitive advantage. And from what I've learned from her in the past, she was working on a specific segment of the market. And so it's the benefit of the information that I think I had that moved me to 4. But from what she said today, it might be difficult to get a lot of the data that I already got. So I'm biased in my decision.
Thank you very much.
Cool, thank you. But yeah, I wish I had that advantage going for me. You've made me curious. So, all right. So I said a 2, and I also was a bit conflicted between a 4 and a 2, but I'll kind of share why I ended up on the 2. So I think the one bit is that this is a big problem, right? So we need hundreds and thousands of artisans and engineers in this country. And the question for me is, how scalable is this model? In your little blurb that's on the system, you spoke about 800 students. We need that to be 8,000, 80,000. So just how you're going to scale it to that. And also, I didn't get a sense, and it sounds like Buddy's got a bit of more of a sense of just how successful have you been already? So kind of what's the approach, what's the curriculum, what has the success rates been? And it's good that you're kind of experimenting and wanting to go build a platform, which is what it sounds like the direction is. But you need to make sure that you're building a platform based on lessons you've already learned, instead of spending lots of money on a platform that will show you what you don't need. Accreditation for me is a question mark. The other question is who's paying for this, but it's a good problem. We need solutions for it. We need scalable solutions, and it sounds like it's a specific area that you're passionate about.
Thank you very much. Our next hot seat is Becca. Becca, whenever you're ready.
Hi, my name is Begam Kunu, and my company TrustBar has built a crypto automated asset manager and decentralized exchange to help crypto holders grow their crypto through automated asset management, and crypto traders trade securely. Crypto holders get to pool their crypto in the TrustBar platform and earn trade fees whenever anyone trades from one crypto to another, and those fees are distributed evenly across everyone in the pool. Crypto traders get to trade securely on the TrustBar platform, which uses the Polygon blockchain as the backend, meaning the traders never have to deposit their crypto into TrustBar. It is instantly swapped when they submit the transaction. When they're happy with the rate and confirm, they submit the transaction and get the tokens that they've bought, and TrustBar receives the tokens that they've sold. Crypto holders are also incentivized to pull their crypto on the TrustBar platform by rewarding them.
You didn't quite make it in a minute. Thank you. Let's get the ratings, and this time we will start with Gian.
Okay, I'm not sure I understood clearly, and perhaps I wasn't I wasn't focusing enough. But again, I think that it sounds like an interesting proposition. I think you're trying to bring quick liquidity within crypto trade, to people who otherwise would have to go in and out of exchanges at a a long turnaround. You're talking about doing these trades quickly and managing to tokenize them outside the ecosystem of the actual cryptos you're talking about, which I'm not sure I do understand, because I'm not sure even if you capture that on your own blockchain, how that will talk back to the blockchain in a trustless system, for example. So it sounds like an interesting proposition. It sounds quite technical. I think you need to maybe dumb it down a little bit for the audience. Try and explain exactly what you're trying to achieve, and again, how you're going to make money. So yeah,
Okay,
so I'd give it a 2. Sorry, I was just supposed to give you a rating there. Hey, sorry.
Just a rating. So
Okay, well, I've done my.
Get it right.
I've done my chat anyway. Sorry about that. It's a 2,
okay,
and there's my.
Bade, what is your rating?
My rating 2 is a 2.
So Globa?
I'm on a 2.
Thank you, Reese. And Pampos?
I'm ambivalent between 1 and 2, but let's call it a 2.
It's going to be a 2. Thank you very much. Dion, then I'm going to give you a second chance to talk.
No, I'm just so used to the old format. This is a new format for me, so apologies. Yeah, I think if we can, again, crypto is a buzzword. A lot of people are interested in looking at alternate forms of currency, and a lot of people are buying and selling crypto. If you're able to make that, if you have a solution that enables them to make that liquid in a quicker fashion than having to go into exchanges and so on and so forth, and then I think that sounds great. Again, for people who aren't that smart, you're just going to need to explain how you're going to achieve that in the blockchain without being part of the blockchain ecosystem of the crypto that's actually being traded, if you like, and what tokens you're going to use, and then how are you going to make money. I think I said that. So I'm repeating myself, but it sounds interesting. If you can explain how you're going to do it and how you're going to make some money, then I think you can possibly get to a 4.
Thank you very much, Bade.
Okay, my key concern, Becca, is I honestly do not understand the business. It's difficult to begin to contemplate when you want to play in the crypto space, where there's so many platforms out there. People are concerned about fraud. What makes you different? What are you going to be doing differently? In a pitch like this, you should be telling us precisely what is that you're going to do, how you're going to make money, how you're going to prevent the concerns that people already have today. Crypto is not exactly very, will I say, without blemish. All right. So when you're coming to that space, you have a major challenge on your hand to convince customers why you're different. What are you going to do differently? And like any other business, how are you going to make money? So that's my pitch.
Thank you very much. I think some Globa.
Cool stuff. Hey, Bega, great pitch. Super interested. I mean, obviously it's a great area with lots of opportunity to leverage off of, and it's still new. So, kind of quick to the market, although the trading platforms is quite competitive, and trust generally is a big issue. So I think you need to figure out how you're going to have a positioning that helps you respond to those challenges. I think Dion mentioned this. I'm also super interested into that integration layer between your offline, quicker, trades versus the public blockchain and how that's managed. So I'm curious about that, and how real time is real time, because that's going to be a massive factor for your clients. You seem to sound knowledgeable about the problem, which is good and bad. It's good because you probably know what you're doing technically. It's bad because sometimes technical people don't always convey what the solution is as simply. So just watch out for that dark side or shadow side of being a technical, technically apt person in the solution you're in. So it could move to a 4 from a 2 from me, but I'd need more information. So for now, it's quite a solid 2.
Thank you very much. And Pampos.
Okay, my concern is as follows. Again, why you? What are you selling? What's your differentiating factor? Remember, you're competing with a number of other big players which are global. I'll give you an example of a company which is also dealing in cryptocurrency trading. Look up MetaTrade. It's a Polish company based in Silicon Valley, offices in Dubai, all of those places. So why select you as opposed to MetaTrade or anybody else? The next question is the following. This is becoming more and more visible because of all the fraud we've been seeing in the news. So it's going to become more and more regulated. And regulation is onerous. It's going to have a major impact on your revenue streams from a cost perspective. So those would be my biggest concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the mentors. Very good feedback. Our next hot seat is Sammy. Sammy, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, so I'm Sammy. I'm representing and CEO of HydroDrip. HydroDrip tackles plastic pollution. Around 1.5 billion plastic bottles are used every day. So each ton of plastic pollutes 3 tons of CO2, so the greenhouse gas. And only 9% of the plastic produced are recycled. So the 91% end up in landfills. So my company, HydroDrip, wants to reduce plastic pollution as it contributes to global warming by developing a card-based water refill system, which is a dispenser that helps consumers to use reusable plastic bottles from anywhere in public places, events, or conferences. It reduces the consumer's carbon footprint, unlike the single-use plastic bottle products that are harmful for the environment and causes the climate change.
Thank you very much. Let's go into mentor ratings and we'll do Bade first. Bade, your rating?
Sorry, I was muted. Sammy, I'm struggling whether to give you 1 or 2. I would explain. I'm oscillating between a 1 or 2.
Okay.
So if I have to give you a rating, I would say I'll give it 2.
Okay, so you're being nice. Thank you very much. So Choba?
Yeah, I've got a similar struggle. I'm also erring on the side of being nice, but we'll unpack why. So it's a 2.
What? Okay, let's try again. Pompos?
Sorry, apologies. I keep on muting myself. As I said, I would agree with Bade and Sogobo. It's a 2. If at best a 2.
Thank you. And then Dion.
Yep, it's a 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get into the feedback session, and we're going to start with Bade. Please give us your feedback.
Sammy, you are working in an industry that is extremely quite interesting. I was actually eager to hear what value proposition you're going to put on the table. But I cannot hear clearly what you're planning to do. You're reading rather than talking. You're supposed to be the founder. So these things should be in your head, how you're trying to change value. I didn't get what the business was. I know you want to recycle plastics. How do you make money? What is the model? How do you attract your customer? What are you going to do in recycling? What is the technology? What exactly are you doing beyond the buzzword of this recycling? So this is why I'm struggling between where's the business and what is Sammy going to do differently? That's my concern.
Thank you very much. Sonkoba?
Awesome. So Sammy, I don't know if you're an introvert, but it may be part of the problem here. So I also struggled to hear you and also struggled to really take out clearly what it is you're sharing and what the solution is. But the other concern I've got is like, you don't seem to believe in your own idea, right? So there's a level of like founder confidence of this is what we're going to do. This is what I'm passionate about. This is the idea that's going to change the world. And I didn't pick that up. And if you don't put that across, then why should I believe it? Why should I invest? Why should I advise, right? So I think you've got there's clearly something there that you're trying to put across, but I think maybe just rehearsing your pitch, making sure it's clear what the solution is, stepping a bit out of the introversion. Sometimes it's hard, but it's needed if you're going to be an entrepreneur, and you've got to be passionate about the solution you're putting on the table. I'm walking away not sure what the solution is, I don't know how you're making money. I don't know what the competitive advantage is. So I'm just hopeful that at least you've got some sort of solution for like plastic and to save the environment, but I'm living on hope. And that's why it was a 2, but it also could have been a 1. So I'm hoping it improves going forward.
Thank you very much. Pampos?
Okay, presentation is 1. If I understood you correctly, you were talking about 2 propositions. One is plastic recycling, and the other one is providing clean water to people who, who don't have access to clean water. Which of the 2? You cannot be all things to all people. Again, concentrate on one. Next one is, what's your business model? What's your revenue going to be based on? Are you going to be selling water to people who don't have access to clean water? Why would they buy from you? Why wouldn't they use their existing resources? So those would be my major concerns in terms of your proposition and your pitch. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then the last person up is Dion.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything that's been said. So there's no need. Look, the one thing you did was stick to your time, which is cool. But you need to believe. We said this before, I think here, if you don't believe in yourself, then how is anyone going to believe in you? And you seem like a really cool guy. You seem like you've got a cool problem statement. I think one of the things that I've noticed here, and it's not obviously just in this discussion, if we're talking about the water treatment problem, for example, or we're talking about some of the grand problems of the recruitment issue in the recruitment market, I would can that first 30 seconds explaining why we need to recycle plastic. Okay. I don't think there's one person on this planet that doesn't understand. If they do, then I don't know, they haven't been listening much. But we know there's a problem with plastic. I don't need 30 seconds on that. I suggest for you and for the other guys who have been putting this first 30 seconds as a problem statement, which is kind of obvious, as the raw sewage problem and water treatment is obvious. The 30 seconds, what is your proposition and why are you different? The first 30 seconds. The last 30 seconds, how am I going to use money and why should you use my services? And that's a way to break it up. Sometimes you can't go through absolutely everything. And again, I hope everyone's taking this feedback in the spirit that it's meant, because it's very hard. If you're an introvert, it's tough. But sometimes the people really trust introverted people who know what they're talking about, because they're often the most responsible people. So in my experience as well. But you do need to get passionate about it. You need to tell us what you're doing. I think you were going to put dispensers with recycled plastic bottles in there. I didn't get the water part, but I genuinely didn't understand what you were proposing.
Thank you very much, Dion. The next head seat is Nick Schooling. Nick, whenever you're ready, you can start.
I hope we haven't scared everyone off.
He's on the call. I don't know why he's not speaking.
My apologies, guys. I was muted there for some reason. My apologies. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. Good evening, everybody. My name is Nick Schooling, and I'm the founder of Local Knowledge Travel. COVID has created an incredible opportunity in the travel industry, as there's been a pent-up demand while competitors have fallen by the wayside. The youth travel market has grown in relevance, with a total addressable market of 320 million travelers recorded in 2019, and a serviceable available market of 1.5 million travelers visiting Cape Town. Millennial and Gen Z travelers feel comfortable researching and booking online, but due to Google AdWords, it has become increasingly difficult to access authentic information. To solve this problem, my company has developed a mobile app that connects travelers to like-minded locals to enable the sale of authentic recommendations. Travelers get inside access, locals earn a passive income, and we get a portion of every single transaction. We are currently getting feedback on our MVP and iterating our platform to get product market fit in time for the post-COVID travel boom. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nick. And our first person to give us a rating is Mkloba.
Yeah, I'm between a 2 and a 3, but I'm going to go with the 2 and I'll explain why.
Thank you, Pampos.
Ditto.
2. Dion?
Yeah, sorry, it's 2 again.
Bade?
Is it 2 for me too?
Thank you. So Ngoba, you can start us off.
All good, all good. So sorry for another 2. We have become that group, but yeah, I thought awesome pitch, very clear, know exactly what you're doing, you know, and what you're trying to achieve and why you're trying to do it. So just really kudos for that. Awesome, like just relevant info as well. But one thing I can't get my head off of is how you're going to compete with like Airbnb. So that's just what immediately came to mind. So tell me what makes you special, what makes you different. Specific example I think you should look into is a local company called Ziplorio, so Explorio, who have done a local kind of towns registry and information, and learn from some of their pitfalls and learn from some of their successes, because we think that a local model is great, but then sometimes consumers don't necessarily behave that way. So I'm going to leave it at those 2 bits of feedback.
Thank you very much. Pampos?
Okay, great presentation. Concern, it's unclear to me how you're going to make money. Again, who's your competitor? I don't believe the segment you mentioned is an Airbnb customer, but they could be. But again, you're competing with other, I forget the name of the company, but essentially, if I'm not mistaken, is couch surfing or whatever. So if millennials are your target market, you're competing with those guys. And those guys have been around for quite some time. They've been mentioned by the number of influencers on YouTube or the social media. So what makes you different to them? How are you going to distinguish yourself? And again, running a platform and scaling and all of those things is not as easy as it sounds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dion?
Look, I think there's a place for this kind of stuff, Nick, and I think you are a very confident presenter, and at least you're picking Cape Town, not the whole world, which you made clear there. But if you hadn't said that, it would have seemed like the whole world. This kind of stuff is spreading, is becoming quite ubiquitous. That means it's going everywhere at the moment. Sorry, and where it's particularly successful. I mean, I had a friend of mine who I was chatting to went to Ukraine last week, and he had gotten in touch with one of these youngsters who had kind of not only given him a view of the right places, which he found very, very valuable, by the way. But what was bolted onto this is when he went to Ukraine, this youngster was the guy that turned him around, took him to the restaurants as well. And so that's how, you know, they made a bit of money, and then the youngster made that, and the platform took a transaction fee off that. What really confuses me with this stuff is that I just don't get how people are going to go and hook up with a youngster on the line about the travel plans, pay for that, and then where the transaction is going to take place. I see this movie, well, you'll get me in touch with a guy. If he's going to charge me anything more than a token fee, I'm going to get my information elsewhere. And then how are you going to compete in the AdWords space? How are they going to get to you? You never mentioned that, because you said you're competing against these big marketing behemoths, and you are. So how are you going to get your message out there ahead of them? And when you say take a cut of the transaction, what transaction? Because either you need to be partnering with an airline or a travel agent or somebody where you're doing a transaction to take a cut of a transaction. I still don't see how people are going to go and pay for the privilege of chatting to a local who is knowledgeable about the tourism market, and then on top of that, going and booking their tickets and paying a cut of that. So if you can clear that up, I think there is an opportunity in the space, but it needs to be different. It needs to be pretty clever, I think. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Bade?
Okay, obviously, Nick, you have good presentation skills. You walk your pitch according to your path. I presume if you've listened to Dion before, you will have managed the time better. But you've already had a prepared pitch, and you didn't want to change the tactics, so you just went with what you had before. I like the fact that you said you wanted to target youth travelers. So I was looking forward to how do you going to differentiate that segment, and what is your value proposition to that segment? What makes that segment unique, and why do you pick it? All right, and what are you going to provide to them that makes them want to be on your platform? All right, because at the end of the day, what you're saying you wanted to be is a marketplace for travelers, but a marketplace for a specific segment of traveler. Could it be because you find a particular secret sauce around youth traveling or youth travelers and experiences? or experiences that you'd like to have that the other platform do not particularly favor. So there's something there, but you're not selling it well. All right. So you need to improve on that and concentrate in your ability to put that difference out to us.
Thank you very much, Bode.
Thank
That is
you.
it for the hot seats tonight. Everybody in the cohort should have done at least a 1-minute hot seat. So let's talk assignments, then we'll have a quick 5-minute break, and then we are getting back to the mentors' presentations.
Cobus, can I say well done to everybody, though? It is very, very difficult. So, you know, those twos are not bad twos. They're great twos and they're learning twos. So well done, and congratulations for getting the courage to come up and do that.
I agree with Dion. I think it's important to understand a 2 means that there's something there, okay, but you need to work on it. That's all it means. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means there's something there, but there's still work to be done. Okay, let's talk quickly about the assignment for next week. So the week coming up, we are doing revenue, and let's talk launch track. The reason why I give you the assignments is so that when the presenters presents, you can listen for these things within the presentation. So the first thing, customer problem. Based on your research, select one customer problem to pursue in the program that has the greatest chance to generate significant revenue. Then you need to select a revenue model, narrow down the problem to 3 potential revenue models, and thoroughly analyze the positives and negatives of each model. And then this week you're going into your hot seat pitch and you're going to build a 3-minute pitch. Use your templates to develop a professional 3-minute long pitch deck based on feedback, concepts, and flow that has resonated from your hot seat pitches. So go back to your hot seat pitches, go look at the feedback, and make sure that your 3-minute pitch addresses those. On the growth track, you're going to do some expert interviews, speak with 3 financial people who have experience in similar industry to your customer's problem, and get the insights and opinion on the scalability of your revenue model. That scalability one is sometimes the issue. Key performance indicators. Based on your research thus far, identify the final key metrics that will impact your ability to secure revenue and funding. Discuss these with your local leaders and finalize a tracking system for these metrics. And then under product development, refactor your plan to prioritize the release of a solution that will generate initial customer revenue and validate your riskier assumptions. Ladies and gentlemen, we are taking a quick 5-minute break, and then we will be back.